What's good, YouTube? This is Caleb Shaw back with another video for SYL Fitness. Now, I'm recording this video before I go and do my chest workout today. I don't like doing them on Mondays because I feel like that's just a little too basic. But I also wanted to wait until the day I was going to post this video so that I could kind of gather my thoughts a little bit, as well as do this as unscripted as I could. I know that's kind of kind of oxymoronic right there, but I really wanted this to be straight to you guys, straight off the top of my head, and I don't want there to be any sort of scripting. I just wanted to gather my thoughts on what I might talk about. So today, it's going to be a little on my background, a little bit about why I do what I do, and my philosophy for why I called this channel Surpass Your Limits Fitness, and a little bit of my inspirations getting up to this point. So a little on my background. Now, I've tried to make it pretty obvious that what I'm trying to do with my current fitness level is become a professional powerlifter. Now, I chose powerlifting because for two reasons. I could have gone two roads going through high school, but going back to what really made my choice is all the way back in middle school. Now, most kids, when they're going through middle school, they're going through awkward phases in life. Okay, I was no exception. I was large. I didn't really have any sort of muscle to speak of, but I was fat. We're just going to put it that way. I was fat, and I struggled with that for many years until about halfway through middle school. I finally decided that I was going to stop. Can't really decide to stop being fat, but I decided that I was going to try to get my life together. Now, I had a really great inspiration back then for that, by the name of Coach Phillips. Now, Coach Phillips, he cared about his athletic kids, or to say the kids that were in athletics, the kids that were underneath him for football and athletics. He cared about us. We were like his sons, and he instilled in me the want, the drive to push forward. He was constantly trying to get me to new heights. He was constantly showing me, hey, these are the guys that are the top right now. And he was constantly trying to get me to be the top. He was constantly trying to get all of the kids to be the top, which is kind of where I got the idea for the channel title, is because ever since that moment in my life, I have always been trying to surpass any sort of limits that the world might have put on me, or that my own body might try to put on me, or maybe even my perceived limits. And when I got into high school, I had lost some weight by then. It took about a year and a half, but I had lost some weight. I'd grown, and I'd lost some of the fat, and I had actually gained quite a bit of muscle. I went from being 135 pounds short little kid while I was losing weight to, by the time I got to high school, I was about 170 pounds. And I had a choice. I tried a couple different sports. I was in football all through high school, and about my sophomore year was when I really had to decide what I wanted to do with fitness. Did I want to stay in sports? Did I want to do football more? Did I want to try to do it in college? And that's really where I had to choose. Now, even though I had lost this weight and I'd gained the muscle mass and gotten a little bit bigger, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And I struggled for a little while, trying to decide what my life might hold for me outside of high school. And one of my coaches in particular, his name was Jared Rye, pushed me to try something that I'd never thought about before. Now, I'd always wanted to be strong. It had always been known that I was fairly strong for someone my size, but I was never the best. And that year, we started something called powerlifting, part of the football program. Anybody could get into it, but it was mostly part of the football program. And it was just like their way to do more off-season strength training. And I didn't really have any interest in it. It's not something that I wanted to compete in. If you didn't want to compete, you didn't have to compete. It was just kind of something that I occasionally did for like mock meets at the high school. And halfway through my sophomore year, Coach Rye really started getting me to think about trying it. And at that point, there were some guys who were fairly muscular and fairly strong in the program, and they wanted me to try to possibly do bodybuilding because saw that I had been able to lose weight and thought, if he can put on some muscle, I could do it. So I had a choice of either listen to my friends or listen to my football coach. Now, I decided right then and there to try to go out for powerlifting. So I started training about halfway through my junior year, right after football season. I actually signed up for my first real meet, and I fell in love. I loved the competition aspect. Yeah, I love team sports, but doing something for myself for once rather than being in a team sport really was where I showed my drive. I'm very competitive by nature, and going into a powerlifting meet is like no feeling that I've ever had before. Sorry. It's like no feeling that I've ever probably will experience again. It's nerve-wracking. It's tiring. It is painful. It is the most stressful thing that I've ever done. And it is also the most gratifying. That's all I can really say. It is the most gratifying feeling when you get up there, and doesn't matter what everybody else is doing, doesn't matter what your team is doing, you proved that you were the strongest. And once I won my, or not won, I got second in my first meet, I couldn't stop. It became the most addicting feeling that I've ever had. I constantly was in the gym. I wanted to do my absolute best. I was constantly wanting to better myself, and that brought back the feelings that I'd had in middle school, that Coach Phillips had put into me. I wanted to surpass my limits, and nobody thought I could do anything. Nobody thought I was going to go anywhere. Yes, everybody recognized that I was strong, but nobody really thought I was going to do anything, because we had some monsters in high school. I was a junior, and we had some absolute monsters. People who at 18 years old could bench press probably over 400 to close to 450 pounds. And it was the craziest thing ever. But I wanted to surpass them. Now, I don't have the highest record ever at Midlothian High School, where I'm from, but by the time my senior year rolled around, I had achieved the highest composite total at the school. I was officially the strongest person at the school, and that's even considering the bodybuilder guys that I had been competing with that said that I should try bodybuilding, that were actually fairly strong themselves. And from then on, it wasn't really a choice for me. It was just stuck in my head that this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. Now, after I graduated, there were some setbacks. There were some major setbacks. One of which being that after about maybe a year out of high school, an injury that I had had my senior year during powerlifting, during my actual last meet, meet before my last meet, came back. And it was a lower back injury that I rushed through in high school, rushed through recuperating so that I could compete at a regional meet to qualify for state, and I tweaked it again during squat, and that really scared me. I still wanted to compete, I still wanted to do something out of high school, but for the next about year after the injury, so about 2-year time frame after high school, I really didn't train as well as I should have, and my totals went down. I'm not gonna lie, my totals plummeted. Everything besides bench press. And so that was my first real setback. And then after which time frame I moved. I moved to Texas A&M. I was planning to get on the powerlifting team. I was planning to get back in the saddle, and life hit me. It was the first time living on my own. It was the first time I had taken more than about 3 classes at a time. I took 5 classes that semester, and it was and I left my girlfriend at home, and it was really hitting me hard. Because of my weight issues and things like that, and being made fun of in middle school for it, I grew up with some depression issues, and it really hit me. All of those things hit me hard while I was at Texas A&M, and I didn't lift. I worked my butt off as much as I could, but I never lifted heavy. I did a lot more just lazy workouts, not really paying attention to what I was doing, just enough to try to maintain my body weight. And I was 208 pounds at the time. And finally it got too much, and I came home. I started going to UTA, University of Texas at Arlington, when I got back, and I started living my life again. Only for, well, we'll put it this way. I was told by a certain someone that lifting was too harsh on my body. And so I didn't work out. I didn't lift weights, we'll say, for about a year, up until about December 3rd, 2015. And it just wasn't, I wasn't myself. It didn't feel right. I didn't feel like I should have. All I could do was run because this certain person, that's what they said I could do. Now, I'm not here to dog this person, and I'm not going to mention any names, but going through this is kind of, this video is kind of my journey and why some of my inspirations are who they are. So after by December 3rd, 2015, me and this person split. We parted ways, and immediately the first day that we were apart, I went back to the gym. Now everything was slow starting. I could barely bench press 275 pounds, which for me, getting up to about 360 previously was pathetic. I couldn't squat more than about 430 pounds, which for me, having my squat be up to close to over 600 pounds previously was pathetic. My deadlift was just as bad, and I'm not a strong deadlifter. My deadlift's always been about the same as my squat, still is, but I worked my butt off, guys. It's been almost 5 months since then, and I have since increased my bench press to 405 pounds. I've increased my squat decently. It's a lot slower start. It's kind of why I do so many leg days. I do 4 leg days a week, 2 deadlift days a week, and those are actually on different days. They might line up sometimes, but I do 2 deadlift days and I do 4 squat days, usually not on the same days a week. Trying to train up my squat and deadlift right now to catch up. But I haven't set a date for when I'm going to be doing my first meet, but it will be within the next year. I plan to work my butt off until I get there, and I hope to put up some good totals, guys. I really do. Now, on to the inspiration part. I can say a couple things like Dan Greene. Dan Greene is not necessarily a fitness idol for me, but he really gave me a goal. Now, it's going to take me years, but in my lifetime, I want to try to beat Dan Greene, or at least his totals in powerlifting. I don't know how long it'll take, but in my mind, that is one more limit that I'm going to try to surpass. So I technically could call him a fitness idol, but more like I want to call him a long-term fitness rival. Now, another person that I could say is Greene. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, but you're a powerlifter. Why would Greene be a fitness idol? Well, it's not so much Kai Greene as it is bodybuilders in general. I don't want to be a fat powerlifter. There's this stigma against powerlifters because they look like they've got poofy muscles or puffy muscles. Yeah, they're strong, but they look fat. I don't want to be one of those. Now, I said that a long time ago. I made the decision never to be a bodybuilder, and that decision hasn't changed. I don't want to be a bodybuilder, but I don't want to look out of shape either. I want to be in the best shape that I can be, and if that means that my accessory lifts are going to be bodybuilding type movements, I'm going to do those bodybuilding type movements with the weight that a powerlifter should be doing. And that's my philosophy. So really, some of my fitness idols on that end of the spectrum are really just bodybuilders in general, top name bodybuilders. I don't want to look like them necessarily, but I don't want to be out of shape either just because I'm a powerlifter. Alright, and on to the last one. Now this one might surprise some people, but my last fitness idol / inspiration is actually a man named Corey Menzinger. He's got his own YouTube channel, which I encourage everybody to go check out. He does great videos. He's been a really big inspiration to me in the past, in the past about 4.5 months since I split from the particular person that I talked about earlier in the video. And reason being is his story, although not exactly the same, is quite similar to mine. Through watching his journey and seeing what he has done with his life since everything bad has gone, for everything that could go wrong did go wrong with him, it's really inspired me. People joke about this all the time, guys, but fitness really is my therapy. It is what I do to not necessarily make myself feel better, but it is what I do as my passion. It is my happiness. It is what I do every day, day in and day out. I don't take breaks. I don't have days off. I'm constantly on my grind, and I love it. It is how I survive through life. And his story just really inspired me. It made me think, look at this guy. He's not much older than me. He went through a lot of the same crap that I did, and look at where he is. Look at what he's done. Look at what he can do with his life. If he can do it, why can't I? So, I mean, he didn't necessarily inspire me to start this YouTube channel, but he was definitely a big inspiration while going through these past 4.5 months. So there you have it, guys. A little bit on me. Sorry this video is going to be kind of long, but a little bit on me, a little bit on my life, and just some of my inspirations and why I do what I do. Big shout out to anybody that I did end up tagging in this video. Thank you all for being an influence on my life. And I'm gonna wrap things up here, guys. This has been Caleb Shaw once again with SYL Fitness. Keep on grinding, guys. Don't let anybody stop you, and I'll see you guys next time.